Yes, children, here is a question. You have to find out the energy associated with an electron when it is moving from fifth orbit to infinity. Infinity means it's very far off from the nucleus. So initially the electron is placed in the fifth level and it is being sent to infinity. Infinity means you are taking it as N2 as infinity. This is the final state. This is the initial state. So what is delta E? It is E final minus E initial. And I already told you that electron which is placed at an infinite distance is equal to 0. Right? Remember that. So here E infinity minus E phi we have to calculate. Now the expression here is minus 1312 into 1 upon N2 square minus 1 upon N1 square. Right? Okay. Now what is your N2? N2 is your infinity and N1 is your phi. So 1 upon infinity square minus 1 upon phi square. Now here this will come out to be minus 1312 into 1 upon 5 square is 25. So you will get it. Minus of minus plus ho jayega. So you will get 1312 into 1 upon 25 because 1 upon infinity square is nothing. It is 0. So you will get a value like this, 8.72 into 10 power minus 20 joule. Now, what is the amount of energy that is required if you want to transfer the electron from n is equal to 1 to n is equal to infinity? So that is E infinity minus E1. Okay, so 1 upon alpha square, 1 upon infinity square minus 1 upon 1 square. Now he is asking you to remove an electron. That is why I have divided by Avogadro number. Right? Because it was kilojoule per mole. So per atom के हिसाब से Avogadro number से divide किया. So here again what you will get? You will get 2.18 to 10 power minus 18 joule. Now when you want to move the electron from fifth level to infinity, the amount of energy is this. And when you want to move the electron from n is equal to 1 to n is equal to infinity, it is this. Okay. So delta E 5 to infinity and delta E 1 to infinity. Look at the value. It is coming out like this. So this is equal to 1 upon 25. So if you take these two and these two, 25 into energy associated with the removal of electron from fifth level to infinity is equal to energy associated with the electron when you are shifting it from first level to infinity. So 25 times the energy required to remove from 5 to infinity is equal to energy required to remove from 1 to infinity. Is that clear? तो जितना क्लोज होगा इलेक्ट्रॉन न्यूक्लियस के पास होगा उतना ही उसको निकालने में ज़्यादा एनर्जी लगता है. इट इज़ 25 टाइम्स मोर. एनर्जी रिक्वायर्ड टू रिमूव from 1 to infinity is 25 times which is required for 5 to infinity. So this is what I want you to understand. Then we will see now de Broglie's expression. Now, two important developments that took place in order to formulate the model of an atom. That was, one is dual behavior of matter and the other one is Heisenberg uncertainty principle. So this dual behavior of matter was expressed by the scientist by name de Broglie. He said that matter, like any radiation, it also exhibits dual behavior, he said. So like photon, electrons should also have momentum as well as wavelength. So this is what he thought. And he tried to relate both by means of an expression. Now what he did? He took Einstein equation E is equal to mc square, and he also took Planck's equation, which is E is equal to h nu. And since both of them are equated to E, he equated mc square and h nu. So here nu can be written as c upon lambda. So mc square is hc by lambda. So in that case, c, which is common, that can be eliminated. So what you get? Mc is equal to h upon lambda. So when you rearrange, you will get lambda is equal to h upon mc. Now this c, if it is replaced by v, because c is speed of light, v is velocity of the particle. So you will get h upon mv, and product of mass and velocity is nothing but momentum, which is denoted by the letter p. So lambda is equal to h upon p. So this is what is called as de Broglie's relation, which is connecting the wave character and particle character. Momentum is particle character and wavelength is wave character. So these two are interrelated by de Broglie's relation. So how do you derive de Broglie's relation? You should know. Then what is Heisenberg uncertainty principle? He said that it is impossible to determine simultaneously the exact position and momentum of an electron to absolute accuracy. It is just impossible to determine where the electron is and what is its velocity at one particular time. If you try to measure one, then you will lose track of another. That is what he says. It is impossible to determine both position and velocity of an electron to absolute accuracy. So this is what he gave by means of a mathematical expression, that is delta x into delta p is greater than or equal to h upon 4 pi, where delta x is uncertainty in position, delta p is uncertainty in momentum, and h is Planck's constant upon 4 pi. So this delta p can be written as m into delta v, because change in momentum is due to change in velocity. Mass is not going to change, right? So delta x into m into delta v is greater than or equal to h upon 4 pi. Or if you take the product of uncertainties, that is delta x into delta v, it is equal to h upon 4 pi m. Okay, so this is Heisenberg uncertainty principle. Okay, then now we'll have to go to quantum numbers. Now, what are these quantum numbers? When an electron is in a particular energy state, the wave function corresponding to that energy state contains all information about the electron. The wave function, see, electron can be considered as a wave as well as a particle, okay? When electron is in a particular energy state, the wave function corresponding to that energy state, each and every energy state corresponds to a particular wave function, and that wave function will contain all the information about that electron. And the quantized energy states and their wave functions, they are characterized by three quantum numbers. Wave function, it is expressed by psi, psi, p is silent there, the symbol is like this, it is called psi. And what are the three quantum numbers? Principal quantum number, azimuthal quantum number, and magnetic quantum number. Okay, principal quantum number is expressed as small n, azimuthal by small l, and magnetic quantum number as ml. Now the probability of finding an electron at a point within an atom is proportional to the square of the orbital function. Anyway, this much is not required for you. You just have to know what is quantum number and what is their significance. Okay, based on that, you have certain rules and regulations to write the electronic configuration. Since it is revision, I am not going into the details of everything. I am going to just start with what is Aufbau principle, then what is Pauli's exclusion principle, and things like that. I am moving. Now, what is Aufbau principle? Aufbau principle is the orbitals are arranged in the increasing order of their energies based on n plus L rule. Now, where comes this n plus L? This n plus L is valid whenever you are talking about two or more orbitals having the same n plus L value. This n is principal quantum number, L is azimuthal quantum number. Okay. Now you know very well that the different energy levels are 1s, 2s, 2p, 3s, all these things you know it, taking it for granted. So if you want to calculate n plus L value for such orbitals, then how they are arranged, in what way their energy level is arranged, that is what you have to see. So here this 3d, 4p and 5s, when you consider 3d is having n is equal to 3 and L is equal to 2. So n plus L is 5. For 4p, n is equal to 4 and L is equal to 1. Again 4 plus 1, 5. For 5s, n is equal to 5 and L is equal to 0. Again 5 plus 0 is 5. So all the three orbitals are having the same n plus L value, that is equal to 5. Now how do you arrange them in the increasing order of energy? Which will have greater energy, which will have lesser energy? So they say that when you consider this n plus L, whichever is having lower n value, that will have lesser energy. The one which is having lower n will have lesser energy. So here lower n is that for 3D. So 3D is having lesser energy than 4P. 4P is having lesser energy than 5S. So like this you should be in a position to identify the n plus L value and find out the order of arrangement. So based on this n plus L rule, we have arranged all the different orbitals like this. So this is Aufbau principle. Then the next one is Pauli's exclusion principle, which says that no two electrons in an atom can have the same set of quantum numbers. Now say this is an orbital having a pair of electrons. This is some orbital, say a 2s orbital or a 2p orbital, you consider anything. Now let us write the quantum numbers for each electron of this orbital. Now let us consider it is 2s. So your n will be equal to 2, both for this electron as well as for this electron. Then L value will be 0 because s orbital means L is equal to 0. So since it is 2s, then here also L is equal to 0. Then what is ML? ML also is equal to 0 and ML here also it is equal to 0. Now when you consider the spin quantum number, one will have clockwise spin, the other one will have anti-clockwise spin. So one will have plus half, the other one will have minus half. So this is the only quantum number which differs. The rest three are same. Okay. So even if you consider electrons belonging to the same orbital, you will not find all the quantum numbers same. At least one will differ. So this is what Pauli's exclusion principle is stating. Then the next one is Hund's rule of maximum multiplicity. What does this say? Pairing of electrons in degenerate orbitals does not take place until they are singly filled. Now what is meant by degenerate orbitals? Degenerate orbitals means orbitals having same energy. Like you consider all the 3p orbitals, all the 3d orbitals, all the 5p orbitals, anything of a particular orbital if you take, all those orbitals, they have the same energy. They are called as degenerate orbitals like px, py, pz. Now if you have to fill electrons in such orbitals, then how do you do it? Now all the px, py, pz, all of them are having same energy I said, and you have to fill 5 electrons. Now how do you do it? First you put one electron in each, and then if at all electrons are left behind, then start pairing them up. Okay. So if there are 4 electrons, then you cannot put the electrons like this. You can't fill it up in both the orbitals and finish it off. This is not the way. You have to first fill them singly. First put one electron in each, and if there is availability of electron, start pairing them. Okay. So this is Hund's rule of maximum multiplicity. Then stability of half filled and completely filled orbitals. Why they are stable? Because of symmetrical distribution of electrons. like 2p3, each orbital is having one electron. 3d5, each orbital is having one electron. So there is symmetrical distribution that gives stability. Then the next property is exchange energy. Now, when two or more electrons with the same spin are there in degenerate orbitals, they exchange their positions. That is, this will come here, this will go there, or this will come here and this will go there. So they will exchange their positions. They will not sit quietly in their place. They will move to the other house. So when this movement is taking place, energy is released. And this energy released is called as exchange energy. Now, how many ever exchanges are possible, that much of energy will be released. So the atom will now be associated with lower energy. Remember, lower energy state is the most stable state. So greater the number of exchanges, greater will be the exchange energy and greater will be the stability. So in the half-filled state you have, see, this is exchanging, now this is exchanging with this also, and these two are exchanging. So total number of exchanges possible, they are 3. Okay. Now if you put the 3 electrons in this way, then what you find? Then exchange is not possible, because here also it is 2. This electron, it cannot come here, and this electron cannot go there because it's already fully filled. Okay. So no exchange is possible in such a case. That is why you say this kind of filling is not allowed. Okay.